year of elections, and today we will prologue the House as we wait for State of Nation address, as we give you some time to look for votes, because we need all of you back in the House. Not so, Francis. And remember, we have State of Nation address on 5th June 2025. So I will request all of you to attend. And honorable members, you recall that on 5th February and 17th April, this House passed resolutions to authorize a reallocation of the budget estimates 2024-2025 and the revision of work plans for institutions affected by rationalization, that is RAPEX. It was envisaged that these expenditures, among others, would enable us to settle terminal benefits and other forms of severance packages for the staffs that were affected. And notably, these institutions that we are talking about are institutions like UNRWA, Road Fund. However, to date, the money has not been paid to the people who were retired out of RAFEX. And this House passed 61 billion for these people to be paid. And because these people have not been paid, they've ended up going to court. We want government to really make a follow-up on this payment and ensure that these people are paid for the work they did. Since we already allocated the money for that and nothing has taken place, and one of the reasons for us to rationalize was not to make these people disadvantaged. These people have been working for this country, and we ought to pay for what they have been doing. So, Government Chief Whip, you may need to make a follow-up on that. You need to make a follow-up with the Minister of Public Service and ensure that these people are paid. Honorable members, the Parliamentary Pension Scheme will hold a member center session seminar for members of Parliament on Wednesday, 11th June 2025 in the Parliament Conference Hall, starting from 9. And you are accordingly notified and requested to attend. That is your scheme. Honorable members, you also allow me to invoke Rule 26.1 of the Rules of Procedure to vary the order paper to accommodate some urgent issues. One, an urgent loan request by government pursuant to Article 159 and Rule 162 of the Rules of Procedure, and this loan is a budget support. Remember, we passed the budget last week, and one of the sources of funding that budget was from borrowing, and this is a budget support. And two, lay a biannual report of the Parliamentary Pension Scheme, PPS, by the Chairman of the Board of Trustees. And three, we shall also lay the reports from Auditor General. We have reports from Auditor General. Thank you. Yes, Dr. Boka.
RAPEX. While I was traveling yesterday from the constituency, I had an opportunity to interact with the staff of Obongi Ferry Sinyanya Ferry. These are staff, some of whom have been put as skeletal staff to continue operations of the ferry services. Their salaries have not been paid for long. There are staff that have been laid off, expecting their experience package, as well as their terminal benefits. These have not been. Further still, just across the ferry, There's a very, very bad spot that threatens to cut off the ferry service. Call of orders are being put to the Ministry of Works 6 months down the road. No work has started. Vehicles traveling from Arua to Juba via Obongi incurred losses in damages to their vehicles, rotting of goods because of inaction by the Ministry of Works, caused by inaction by the Ministry of Finance to make resources available. This is beating the spirit and the intentions of RAPEX. We urge government, as you have already stated, to take action to address the plight of the workers that are languishing. I submit. Thank you.
Thank you. Honor the calculation of terminal benefits. Whereas the Ministry of Public Service is saying these people should be paid only 25 billion, but then the normal calculation says 61. So the issue must be reconciled. Yes, Catholic. Honorable Sir.
From the chief to take note of this. It seems after the transition under the RAPEX, people who go to these entities don't know some of the areas they are controlling, Madam Speaker. I have raised the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Works, about Karungu Road, but he doesn't know that road is for government. When I ask him, he says, contact the district engineer. But these roads are different. They are roads managed by the district and roads under UNRA. For us, when we used to have...
The late UNRA.
The late UNRA. We used to communicate to Madam Kajina and our station managers at Masaka about the weakness and the challenges on our roads. They would come out very fast to work on those roads. But as we talk now, Madam Speaker, for me, I've taken a full month communicate to the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Works, because he's the immediate person we can communicate to about these roads. But it seems he doesn't know the roads he's supposed to work on. Then lastly, Madam Speaker, as we talked last time, Masaka Road, we have a challenge. It is now 4 years when the road was diverted to go through Mpiji. And it was whenever I make diversions, you are trying to work on the road as fast as possible. We are also going to get similar problems. We want to know from the Ministry of Works, has Mpiji become the permanent road of Masaka Road, or it must remain as it was before? What are they doing on Masaka Road that has failed to clear that area they had closed for 4 years now? 4 years the road is closed, and we don't know what is taking place, but accidents are occurring every day. And lastly, Madam Speaker, whenever they divert these roads, those roads where they divert, they don't work on them. They leave them as they used to be. When Katonga broke, they were using Kalungu Villa Maria Road to Nyendo. The road was spoiled, and
Honourable members, we have a report on roads. To discuss the report on roads.
Yeah, but
yes, there's a procedure matter.
Right Honourable Speaker, I rise on a procedure matter. I first want to thank the Honourable Sewungu because he's raising very pertinent issues concerning our roads. However, Right Honourable Speaker, when I look at the front bench, my boss, the government chief whip, looks so constrained when the other ministers are not there. The floor has been left to him alone, and we have 85 ministers, Right Honourable Speaker. Wouldn't it be procedurally right Honourable Speaker, that when you are talking about roads, the Minister of Works is here in the House to listen to the plight of Ugandans and to the plight of the population, Right Honourable Speaker? The procedure matter I'm raising, therefore, Right Honourable Speaker, is that would it be procedure right for you to direct the ministers to be here to enable us to continue with this House properly and with responses from government?
Honourable members,
because our work cannot stall because of them. In the Committee of Education, we have moved 4 years without the substantive Minister of Education appearing. We said we cannot move, and we stop doing business because Madam Janet Kataha is not appearing. So we have moved 4 years. Whether she doesn't appear, it is on her record. So if the chief whip is here,
let
us move on, honourable members, as they come.
Honourable Gonzaga, Minister is not a person, it is an office, and she's even online now. If you want, come and see. Please come and see.
Madam Speaker, that's not my role. But at least I'm sure she's not there.
Yes. Before you. Okay, sir.
Much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker,
I hope you're not raising matters of national importance because you have 2 hours of matters of national importance.
we are responding to your communication, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, being part of the Committee of Public Service and Local Government, we want to appreciate
And a shadow minister.
and a shadow minister for local governments, given that many local governments are also affected by our rationalization as far as those former unilateral roads were concerned. I also have an input and ask you, Madam Speaker, when we are handling this matter of the effects of rationalization, could we get to know and hear from finance? Because many times, the Minister of Public Service, wherever he has appeared, and we've inquired about this matter, why aren't our former staff really handled? How comes they have not yet been settled? All the answers get back to Minister of Finance, and unfortunately, Minister of Finance many times doesn't honor our invitation to Committee of Public Service and Local Government. So we request, can we get the Cabinet responding to this very matter of rationalization? And let's have a joint statement, whether it's going to be Prime Minister giving it to us, because many times, now we've already revoted, but we are having other ministries referring to others. Public Service refers to finance, that finance hasn't released the money such that it fully handles this matter of paying all affected staff. So I request, Madam Speaker, let's have also finance giving us a response whether already the money has been sent to Minister of Finance, to Minister of Public Service to settle this. I thank you.
Honourable members, Committee of Local Government, Public Service. Committee of Public Service should look at all these issues on settlement of terminal benefits and report back to the House in the next sitting. It's a very urgent issue, and this must be handled. We cannot have people out there. We thought these people should be given their settlement allowance, and to date they've not been given their money. Yes, Lop.
Much, Right Honourable Speaker. The victims of RAPEX, Madam Speaker, are blamed solely on the ministries because the delays in reintegrating the staff from the merged agencies has caused the men, and by the way, soon you will be receiving petitions, Madam Speaker. Most of these staff, on stringent measures, they are supposed now to apply afresh for the jobs. That would not be bad, Madam Speaker, under normal procedure. But the recruitment exercise is lopsided. It is paying more attention to those who are fresh applicants rather than giving priority and preferential treatment to the older staff that are affected by the RAPEX. Madam Speaker, as you give directives to the line Minister of Public Service, those affected ministries must take note and give preference to the staff, the old staff that were already there, Madam Speaker, under normal procedure.
Part 1 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, 1995, requires Inspectorate of Government to submit to Parliament at least once in every 6 months a report on performance, on its performance and its functions, making such recommendation as to be considered necessary action by Parliament, and the reports are available, and I will request the Commissioner to lay them as per Rule 33 of Rule.
Speaker and honourable members, I beg to lay the biannual performance report to Parliament from the Inspectorate of Government, 20 July to December 2024. I beg to lay.
Thank you. Pursuant to Rule 33.5 of Rules of Procedure, the reports are sent to the Committee of Legal and Parliamentary Affairs.
Laying of papers, the report of the Auditor General on the forensic investigation into the management of court fees using the electronic case management information system.
Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the report of the Auditor General on forensic investigations into the management of court fees using electronic court case management system. I beg to lay.
Members, these two reports, the report general, please lay all of them at once.
Right Honorable Speaker, I also beg to lay the report of the Auditor General on forensic investigation into the suspected fraud in gorilla and chimpanzee permit booking systems at Uganda Wildlife Authority for the period 1st July 2020 to 30th September 2023. I beg to lay.
Thank you. The reports are.
As guided by the Speaker, I would like to lay on table 4 reports of the Committee of Presidential Affairs on table and in the order as provided in the order paper. Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay a report of the Committee of Presidential Affairs on the oversight visit to Kitezi. I beg to lay.
Please lay.
Right Honorable Speaker, I would like to lay on table a report of the Committee on Presidential Affairs on the oversight visit to Kiriandongo District to ascertain the status of internally displaced persons from Bududa. I beg to lay.
Please do.
Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, I would also like to lay on table a report on the Committee of Presidential Affairs on the status of the city abattoir. I beg to lay. I will provide a summary.
That is as per.
Madam Speaker, you had guided earlier before my good colleague came to lay that he has to make highlights of the salient issues that have been captured by these reports before laying. But I see the member just laying
He's going to
without
give
paying heed to your directions.
He's going to give it.
And I was very clear. I said I was going to give just a few highlights on each of these reports as guided by the Right Honorable Speaker. Finally, I would like to lay on table a report of the Committee on Presidential Affairs on the oversight visit to assess the status of markets in Kampala. Right Honorable Speaker, I will start with a brief report on the Kitezi land. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, in response to the tragic collapse of the Kitezi landfill on August 10, 2024, which resulted in the loss of over 23 lives, the Committee on Presidential Affairs conducted an oversight visit to assess the circumstances leading to the disaster, evaluate the current state of waste management, and also recommend actionable measures to prevent future such occurrences. Right Honorable Speaker, the Kitezi landfill was established in 1996 and is located in both Kampala and Wakiso districts. The landfill has been in a primary waste disposal site for Kampala, receiving approximately 2.5 million tons of waste every day. Despite reaching its capacity as early as 2012, the landfill continued operations without significant upgrades or expansion, hence leading to environmental degradation and health hazards for surrounding communities. Key findings, Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, A hazard risk and vulnerability assessment identified 505 households at high risk, including 81 households submerged by floods caused by the landfill disaster as a secondary impact of the collapse. Right Honorable Speaker, only 35 dead bodies were exhumed and verified, but 229 families received condolence funds, indicating an urgency to ensure that all affected families receive the promised support. So not everyone got some compensation of sorts. The quality of shelter provided was certainly not sufficient enough, and that 2 or 3 families were sharing a tent at that time of the visit. Over 80 children were eligible for nursery to university level training had been affected by the dump slide. Unfortunately, the situation has since improved because they were given some compensation and they left the site, those who had been displaced. Key recommendations, Right Honorable Speaker, government should expedite the compensation and relocation of 171 households who were displaced by the waste slide. 2, government should also expedite the rollout of the National Garbage Management Plan. 3, KCC should prioritize the establishment of modern waste disposal sites in identified locations such as Menvu, Nansana, Dundu, Busumamula in Chira municipality, incorporating advanced waste management technologies like incineration and recycling. Finally, KCC should invest in training and equipping waste management personnel with the necessary skills and protective gear to ensure safe and efficient operations. Right Honorable Speaker, in conclusion, the oversight visit to Kitezi landfill revealed critical failures in waste management generally in the country and in Kampala in particular. Regulatory oversight and also emergency preparedness were quite lacking. Right Honorable Speaker, the collapse of the landfill devastated social, economic, and environmental impacts on the surrounding communities, which highlighted the urgent need for improved waste disposal infrastructure and entrenched regulatory frameworks and timely interventions to prevent future disasters. That was a summary of the summary on Kitezi landfill. On the brief report, persons from Bududa and Kiriandongo. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, in March 2010, a devastating landslide struck Bududa, where my friend comes from, and I was with him when we visited that very particular place at that time, in eastern Uganda, leaving a trail of destructions and loss of 350 people. It was very tragic. This was triggered by heavy rainfall. The landslides buried entire villages on the slopes of Mount Elgon, claiming hundreds of lives and displacing thousands of them. The disaster, which mainly affected the villages of Nameti, Kubeho, and Namagasa, highlight complex issues surrounding land management, disaster preparedness, and resettlement planning and environmental conservation. They were all exposed. They were very unavailable there at that time. While exercising its mandate, the Office of the Prime Minister relocated 603 families to Panyandoli in Kiriandongo district. In 2011, the government initiated the construction of permanent low-cost houses for survivors of the March 2010 landslides who were relocated to Panyadol Hills in Kiriandongo district. The resettlement program was implemented in phases, including the acquisition and allocation of 2.5 acres of land to each household, and also provision of relief food for 10 complete months. And they also support for land clearance, supply of seeds and agricultural inputs, and also access to education and health services within the settlement. A total of 603 households were settled in Panyandoli Hills, that is in Kiriandongo. The oversight visit to Kiriandongo revealed significant challenges faced by IDPs from Bududa, including inadequate shelter, land security, food, and health care. Quite inadequate indeed. Some of the structures were already showing signs of collapsing, unfortunately. The committee therefore recommends that the government prioritizes the provision of essential services and support to the IDPs. And furthermore, the committee also calls for increased transparency and accountability in the management of funds allocated to IDP support. Government should also develop a comprehensive plan for the sustainable resettlement and reintegration of IDPs in the entire country to avoid repetition of what is happening in Kiriandongo. Unfortunately, when I talk of integration, what I saw there was a little bit distressful. The people there still believe they are not part and parcel of Kiriandongo. They still believe they are still part of Bugisu. They don't want to integrate with the local communities. And that alone, of course, brings in quite a number of challenges. The details are within the report because I was given just only 20 minutes. Another summary, Right Honorable Speaker, is on the brief report, we only have one city abattoir, I think, and that is around Port Bay Road. The Kampala City Abattoir, Right Honorable Speaker, is the largest slaughterhouse in Kampala, processing livestock for both local consumption and distribution to various markets within the Kampala and its environs. It operates under the supervision of Kampala Capital City Authority, Health Department, Veterinary Services, and also regulatory and other regulatory agencies. The city abattoir is located on plot 1, 2, and 3 Old Port Bay Road in Kampala and has been a site of significant controversy and legal disputes over its management and oversight. The abattoir initially was managed by Kampala City Council, that is KCC, and became the center of complex conflict involving multiple stakeholders, including KCC, Basajabala Hides and Skins and Company Limited, Dan Kwatampora, Katarihwa, and also the City Abattoir Traders Development Association. All those were entangled in horrible conflicts that have seen gone through the decades. On 27th of March 2016, Right Honorable Speaker, His Excellency President Museveni met the informal sector members, including CTDA, that is the City Traders Development Association, and directed that the abattoir be repossessed by KCCA and tendered to the sitting tenants, which was Katada. He also instructed, that is the President, instructed KCCA to determine reasonable rates for the traders. Findings: the city abattoir is not one. The city abattoir is fully owned and managed by the KCCA due to unsolved ownership issues, which gives traders a leeway to illegally collect money and run the abattoir without any regulation whatsoever. The city abattoir has shifted from its the city abattoir has also shifted from its primary purpose and now operates more like a market, very disorganized, indeed, and extremely very unhealthy and dirty. Anytime we can fall into another disaster of health hazards. It's extremely very dirty, and when you go there, you don't like buying meat. But anyway, that's for us to consume. Recommendations, further recommendation. 1, KCCA should restore the abattoir to its original purpose so as to create trade order in that particular market. It's very disorganized, honorable colleagues. Number 2, KCCA should prioritize construction of new structures at the abattoir. The current ones are in a very sorry state. They are an eyesore. Those of you who have been there. Finally, not finally, still have one more. The last report, a summary report, is on the brief, is on the report on the status of markets within Kampala. There are 17 markets, Right Honorable Speaker, in different divisions of Kampala, 17 of them. In February 2010, His Excellency the President of Uganda directed the then Kampala City Council to stop selling city markets to outsiders, but rather hand them over to vendors within those particular markets. This prompted government to compensate a city businessman known as Haji Hassan Basaja Balaba, who had at the time secured a contract to manage Nakasero and Owino markets in particular. With the new management of Kampala under Kampala's Capital City Authority, the February 2010 directive was implemented and the markets were leased out in April 2014 to the different groups within those markets who were already vendors in those markets. In 2018, a new presidential directive was issued guiding vendors to return markets to the local authorities, hence leading to court battles and mayhem in these markets. It is mayhem, to say the least. The key findings, I said they were given an opportunity to only make a summary. Key findings: government markets in Kampala are owned and managed by the Kampala City Authority, following the presidential directives and that aimed at providing affordable trading spaces for vendors. However,
procedure from Francis.
Thank you. Madam Speaker, this matter that is being presented is a very important report that needs to be paid attention to by the Minister of Kampala. But I'm wondering why the Minister of Kampala is absent, because we are going to be giving our views and it needs to be put on record that the Minister of Kampala was around. So, Madam Speaker, is it procedurally right for having this report and the Minister of Kampala is absent? We need your guidance, Madam Speaker.
We under Rule 35, laying of committee field reports. But what he raises is very pertinent, because members will need to understand what is happening rightly. What is raising, much as you're laying the report, but the minister ought to be here to respond to what one or two members would say. The government chief whip may not be able to respond to what is expected, because this is within Kampala and Kampala has a minister. Let's go ahead and receive the report, and we'll allocate time to debate this report.
thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker.
Very, very important.
Very, very important indeed. Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker, for that emphasis. However, in Owino, Nakasero, Bugorobi, and Nakawa, property developers who invested their resources to develop these markets were not compensated by the government when KCCA assumed management of this, especially in Bugorobi. They are all up in arms with the KCCA. And finally, recommendations, Right Honourable Speaker, government should find money and compensate the property developers, or the so-called landlords, as they are known, and most of them are retired public servants who use the very little money available to them at that time to develop the market to what it is today. Most specifically, Bugorobi. 2, Kampala Capital City Authority should take charge in collecting taxes in these markets so that government can increase on its tax base and uptake. Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, I beg to move. Thank you.
Thank you so much. To date, I've not produced even one single report. Thank you for the report. Whereas they complain, no money, but next.
Motion for a resolution of Parliament to authorize government to borrow up to euro 270 million from Afrexim Bank and up to euro 230 million from EcoBank and the Development Bank of Southern Africa Limited to finance the government of Uganda budget for the financial year 2024-2025.
Honorable members, pursuant to Article 159 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, 1995, and Section 36 of the Public Finance Management Act, and Rule 162 of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament, government wants to borrow money. Remember, we passed a budget in this House, and one of the sources of funding for that budget was through borrowing. And now government is here to borrow money to finance the budget. It's a budget support loan. I want to invite the Minister of Finance to move a motion seeking for approval of the House for government request. I think you are the most popular minister.
I am honored if I'm most popular minister. Honorable Speaker, I will move a motion for resolution of Parliament to approve the proposal to borrow up to euro 270 million from African Export-Import Bank and up to euro 230 million from EcoBank Uganda Limited and Development Bank of Southern Africa Limited to finance the government of Uganda budget for financial year 24-25. Right Honorable Speaker, in line with Article 159 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, 1995, Sections 34 of the Public Finance Management Act 2015 as amended, and the old Rule 155 and the new Rule 162, Part 1 of the Parliamentary Rules of Procedure, I beg to move a motion for a resolution of Parliament to approve the proposal by government to borrow euro 270 million from the African Export-Import Bank and up to euro 230 million from EcoBank Uganda Limited and the Development Bank of Southern Africa Limited to finance the government of Uganda's budget for financial year 24-25.
Is the motion seconded? Silwanyi, by Achora, by Chemaswet, by Koluo, Nekesa, Ayeko, Medi, Insegumire Medi, Baka, Alex, Namboso, by the whole side. Would you love to speak to your motion?
Honorable Speaker, in June 2024, Parliament appropriated the total budget for the financial year 24-25 amounting to shillings 72.137 trillion for implementing of government activities, out of which shilling 34.318 trillion was appropriated and shilling 37.817 trillion was approved for statutory expenditure. The total appropriated budget support financing was shillings 1,393.66 billion.
Honorable Minister, the appropriation was done on 17th May 2025. Yes. As stated, you continue. We have corrected the record. Don't disorganize the old man. Let him continue. Let him first continue.
Right Honorable Speaker, my ministry has now concluded negotiations for the euro 500 million, approximately shillings 1,982.65 billion to finance these approved expenditures from external sources. This is comprised of a loan of up to euro 270 million from African Export-Import Bank, as I've said before, to finance the budget as appropriated, and up to euro 230 million from EcoBank Uganda Limited and Development Bank of South Africa. The two loans were also approved by Cabinet on the 26th of May this year. The two loans were approved by His Excellency the President on 20th May 2025, by Cabinet on 26th May 2025, and a certificate of financial implications as shown in Annex 2, 3, 4, 5, 9 of my detailed brief to Parliament, respectively. Terms of conditions of the loan. The financing terms of the African Export-Import Bank loan are as follows. Loan amount, 270 million, tenor, 10 years, grace period, 3 years, base rate, 6 years, Eurobor, 2.151% as of 7th May 2025, margin 5.00 per annum, interest rate, base rate plus margin, placement fees 1.57, payable one-off upfront.
1.75.
1.75 percentage. Commitment fees 1.0 percentage per annum.
1.2 per annum.
1.2 percentage. Not applicable if Government of Uganda draws down the entire loan amount within 90 days from the date of signature of the financing agreement. The all-in cost-effective interest rate for the facility is 7.33% based on the 6-month Eurobor rate of 2.151% as of the 7th May 2025. The terms of the EcoBank Uganda Limited and the Development Bank of Southern Africa Limited loan are as follows. Loan amount, euro 230 million, tenure 7 years for the commercial tranche, euro 130 million, and 10 years from the DFI tranche, 100 million. Grace period, 3 years for the DFI tranche and 3 years for the commercial tranche. Availability period, 90 days. Base rate, 6 months Eurobor, 2.151% as of 7th May 2025. Margin, 5% per annum for the DFI tranche and 4.85% per annum for the commercial tranche. Interest rate, margin plus base rate for each tranche. Arrangement fees, 1.2.5% of the facility amount. Agency fee, euro 30,000 per annum. Commitment fees, 0.5% per annum, not applicable if Government of Uganda draws down the entire loan amount within 90 days from the date of signature of the financing agreement. Default interest, 1.5%. The all cost-effective interest rate for the two EcoBank facilities is 7.20% for the DFI tranche and 7.18% for the commercial tranche based on the 6-month Eurobond rate of 2.151% as of 7th May this year. Condition precedent to disbursement of the loan. The condition precedent to effectiveness and disbursement of the loan are highlighted on page 6 and 7 of the brief to Parliament. Justification of the loan, Honorable Speaker and colleagues, the euro 270 million loan facility is to finance the financial year 24-25 budget as approved by Parliament on May 2024 to be sourced externally, while the additional euro...
May 2025. I am correcting the year, the shadow. I will give you the shadow.
I repeat, Right Honorable Speaker, and I'm justifying now, the euro 270 million loan facility is to finance financial year 24-25 budget as approved by Parliament on May 2024 to be sourced externally, while the additional euro 230 million is to finance the supplementary expenditure schedule number 3 approved by Cabinet and later Parliament on the 12th of March 2025 for financial year 24-25. A copy of the supplementary expenditure schedule number 3 will be attached and marked as Annex 8 of my detailed brief to you. The loan and the current date situation of the country. Honorable Speaker and colleagues, the loan will slightly increase our current date stock, as at the end of June 2024, the total public debt stock stood at US dollars 25.55 billion, increasing from US dollars 23.6 billion as at the end of 23. Of the total public debt stock, external debt constituted US dollars 14.59 billion, and domestic debt stood as US dollars 10.96 billion. Uganda's debt remains sustainable with a nominal value of public debt to GDP of 46.86% at the end of June 2024 compared to 47.40% at the end of June 2023. Honorable Speaker, I wish to lay on the floor of Parliament the brief to Parliament with the following attachments. 1. Cabinet Minute 19/24 on the performance of the budget for expenditure for financial year 24-25. 2. Cabinet Minute 93/2025 on supplementary expenditure schedule number 3 for financial year 24-25. 3. Letter from H.E. the Excellence letters from His Excellency the President providing clearance to the two loan dated 20th May 2025. 4. Resolution of Parliament for Supplementary Expenditure Schedule Number 3, Certificate of Financial Implications. 6. Draft financing agreement for the euro 270 million to be provided by the African Bank. And lastly, draft financing agreement for the euro 230 million to be provided by EcoBank and the Development Bank of South Africa. I beg to lay.
Thank you. Honorable Minister, I wanted to find out when we are borrowing is meant to finance which budget? Is it the current budget that we are on, or it is budget 2025-2026?
It is for this running. Yes, she has asked me a question. This is not going to be financing the coming financial year. We have a lot of...
It is for us to finish the budget 2024-2025.
Yes, Madam Speaker.
And when is the financial year ending?
Well, if you give me the authority, this money will go out to the spenders.
Thank you.
Before the weekend comes.
Honorable Minister, if we give you the authority, I thought we are giving you authority to borrow. How long will it take you to borrow the money?
I'm asking for. Let me explain carefully. Listen. Let's just listen to each other.
Honourable members, let's listen to the minister.
There are expenditures now in the Treasury which we need to pay. Yeah, with the scientific means these days. Yes, by the end of the weekend. Yes. You can go and check on the Treasury.
So
you go.
If the money is for the current year, the minister was right that the money was appropriated in 2024. Yes, it is for the current budget.
Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Baka.
Speaker, I raise 162 to suspend Rule 162, paragraph 2, 3, and 4 to enable this House debate this matter and consider the motion to borrow without necessarily referring it to the Committee on National Economy. Madam Speaker, if my motion is supported, I can proceed to justify it.
Is the motion seconded by Kanusu, by Okwiri, on suspension of Rule 162 to allow the House debate on the loan without referring it to the Committee of National Economy?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I have heard you say that today, Madam Speaker, if that is the case, it practically means that this matter cannot be referred to the Committee on National Economy. For them to sit, consider the matter, and then you call us again for us to be able to handle this matter as a House. Madam Speaker, I propose that since this House is the committee of last resort, because those other committees of the House, they work on our behalf. Since we are here, we are the committee of the last resort. Let's handle this matter and conclude it today, Madam Speaker. Besides, agencies need the money, which we don't have, and the government cannot get stuck because there is no money when we can borrow expeditiously. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Gonsa.
given the urgency of this loan, it is crucial for this House to give due consideration for its approval. I would not be a roadblock. But Madam Speaker, you are the custodian of the rules. Now that it is not going to be under normal procedure referred to the relevant committee, rules are being suspended, I would implore your chair to consider the rule that requires you to ascertain the members present whether they form quorum for such an important decision to be made, Madam Speaker, so that we do not find ourselves on the wrong side of the law.
Let's establish the number which is there both on Zoom and physical. We are going to establish it. Yes, Gonzaga.
But in a good spirit, it would be very proper if the Honourable Minister of Finance is not also moved the motion to suspend the rules. Because the Honourable Baka, the justification is giving is not proper. After having passed the UPDF bill in one day,
what is the justification?
You can't be the right person
Honorable
to move.
Just remind me, what did the Honorable Baka say?
That there is no time and there is urgency. And I don't agree with him, but it would be proper.
How is that related to the UPDF?
Yeah, the way he rushed it, what he did, so filthy, and he cannot be the person. Even after having met him on the veranda, I asked him to present my issues. He gave me the date of Monday, but he brought the bill the following day.
Thank you.
It doesn't look nice. It looks ugly before us.
There is an order.
Madam Speaker, the issue that the Minister has presented and what Baka has subsequently added to, we have the Minister of Finance with a number of ministers, and this budget is now coming to 12 months. The Minister should have given a justification why there was a delay in the planning. So is it procedurally right?
And we needed this to come before the appropriation.
Yes, because this one we approved the expenditure side, and we also assumed the government had made the relevant sources of the funds. So when you come here and you are going to bring your own, when we are actually closing today, it means the Article 90 of the Constitution will not be complied with. So the government makes Parliament actually look as if they are not doing their work. A loan of 70% is non-constitutional. It is actually a commercial loan. So we would appeal to the government, to the minister, to give us justification as to why Parliament must be rushed. We agree we can suspend the rules, but we need to have it unanswered. Why government can bring a loan that is commercial to support a budget that is ending in 30 years?
No, the budget is ending. That is agreeable.
But there's no money.
But there is no money.
Yes.
So can we agree that since we don't have money, nobody should be paid salary? No, we should stop working on the roads. We should. That's what the minister is saying.
No, we are on the
that we need money to finish all the obligations that we have to meet.
Right, Honorable, you are right. We are on the question of planning. That's the ministry responsible for economic planning. So do they plan?
Okay.
Because if they plan, they should have come and give us sufficient time.
Government Chief Whip.
Right Honorable Speaker, I thank you for this opportunity. Right Honorable Speaker, before my committee is one of the reports on our debt management. You are speaking to a minister who has undispersed money borrowed 16 trillion. It is lying out there, borrowed, we are paying interest. This money, 16 trillion, it lies out there, borrowed.
Is it undisbursed or unutilized?
I'm coming. That is money undispersed. We have 222 billion of Ugandan shillings in Bank of Uganda that is dispatched and unutilized. I've looked at both the Uganda shilling and the dollar account in the Bank of Uganda. Now, one of the reasons that the Auditor General is consistently advancing for this predicament is the way Parliament approves a borrowing. We approve borrowings, one, without taking all the necessary conditions to ensure that this money will be absorbed. And Parliament as an institution is indicted for not doing a good job. Right Honorable Speaker, this Minister of Finance, you see here, trying to borrow this amount of money, must first ascertain that he has capability to absorb the money, because the system of Uganda closes on the 15th of the month. So from now, you have only 14 days. Even if you borrow 2, the arrangement time for the money to be wired from wherever to Uganda's Bank of Uganda account can, unless he went, got the money, borrowed it, he had it here, and that's unconstitutional. And therefore, he's coming to Parliament for post-mortem kind of approval. And he's stopped to borrow money without parliamentary approval. So the only way he can have money, the way he can borrow from international market, in the remaining days, he can't have time to arrange a borrowing. Unless he borrowed it, got it, and is coming here to say, please, rubber stamp. And now, if we are rubber stamping, that is unconstitutional.
Honorable Minister.
Right Honorable Speaker, as I conclude, the other thing that the Minister, where he is indicted, this Honorable Kasaija, is on the President of Uganda clearly stated conditions under which a borrowing must be undertaken, and said 3 reasons only. 1, to support security needs of a country. 2, to support infrastructure development. 4, human capital development. He said no further borrowing, to borrow money to spend on recurrent expenditures, including wage. Is the President rescinding his position on this borrowing? Because I hear you say, and this Parliament, that people's wages for June are not, you don't have money. The President said you can't borrow to pay wage.
Who said that?
That's the argument I've been getting. And that's the Minister. Now, for general support, we want the Minister to come here and say, this whole money, item by item, will go to defense, infrastructure, and human capital development. But generally, for budget expenditure, is recurrent. And for how long shall we borrow money to eat?
Budget expenditure is both recurrent and development.
Yes, but that's what I'm saying. But borrowing can only be for development. So is this Minister today a very serious gentleman?
Musa is a very serious gentleman.
Honorable Kivumbi, I don't know whether some of us here have done business. You can rear goats, but you need money. You can take a service or a good and this is what the government is undergoing. We have a number of pending invoices who have been traveling on the road between Mitiana to Mubende. Anybody? Is that road? You are there.
Honorable Zake is there. Honorable, Honorable Margaret.
Is that road comfortable? Yet there is a contractor. That's what you are telling you. Yes, I failed to pay him because I did not have the resources. So now the year is ending, the suppliers, the debtors are demanding for the money. So really, Honorable Kivumbi, it is not money which we have cham. No, this money is...
Actually, the contractor is on the road. He has been there on the road.
We need it to be, he has to be paid. And we do not want to carry it to the next financial year when the opportunity is available.
Thank you. Honorable Query.
Right Honorable Speaker, and looking at pending projects, that we really need to support government to access this money so that...
Thank you. Honorable members, there is a report from Minister of Works where they are saying that the road Mityana, Kampala-Mityana Mubende Road, the contractor has been convinced to go back on road, though they've not paid, so they want to make payment on that contractor. If we are talking about that, and Zake can confirm, Honorable Zake can confirm that the contractor has been there for 1 week now. Honorable Sech, Remiaga.
Very much, Right Honorable Speaker. And I can understand the Honorable Minister for Finance, who is presenting this loan request. Right Honorable Speaker, I wanted to be clear. This Parliament is not against this loan, but only that it is being brought on the eve of the new financial year. When it's late, Right Honorable Speaker, we are having in new conditions, as I was listening in to the Minister. The management fee, the agency fee, the commitment fee, the base tranche, the commercial tranche, and I think it is a problem for this House to approve such a huge loan on hoof. We are ready to support, but once you stampede Parliament at this last minute, who is to blame really? And we as people's representatives, to just sit by and we say, aye, on a matter that is critical. Yes, we want this infrastructure, but can you do us favor by letting us know so that we work together, so that we don't commit the country to such an arrangement? We are borrowing from EcoBank, a commercial bank, and we need to be careful about borrowing from a commercial bank. We are competing with other Ugandans at commercial rates. As a country, I don't think we are moving in the proper way. Yes, it's true we want to pay off the pending expenditures, but as Parliament, we need to walk out with our heads high that we've done duty to the country. We have scrutinized and we have given our approval. But the way we are doing, and honorable colleague is suspending rules, etc., it seems we are not prepared as a country. So to me, Right Honorable Speaker, I'll give my approval, but can we be given exactly what it is? Can we unpack this loan? Can we consume the giving even their agency money? There are people there between who are ready to share this money. It is now a package, and the people are in there ready as agents to see how much they take out of this loan. And I think once government is borrowing, you can give the information.
We'll take over my seat.
Honorable Speaker, just information. When you see agency fee, to be careful in the borrowing. That means somebody out there is going to give money to Uganda currently now. He has it in the bag. Then he's like going to take over this loan. And that's a very expensive arrangement. So may the Honorable Sechko give information. May he do us a favor to tell us the total cost of this loan. Take us through the agency fee, the commitment fee, and tell us at the end of the day what's the cost of this loan. Because that will help to know where we are doing, what we are doing and where we are going. Where you have involved in agency, it's another Amagoro kind of arrangement. And that is something that is so hard for a country to swallow. Tell us the total management fee for the whole arrangement. So, Honorable Sechkubo, it is information to you.
Honorable Kivumbi, for the information. My worry was there between the bank and the lending institution and the government, there is a middle entity called the agent, who is going to get free money. But as an agency, is there to arrange the money and to carry away part of this money. That's why, Right Honourable Speaker, you put it to the ministers to tell us why are they packaging this entire thing together, and for us, without giving us opportunity to look into what we are going to spend and incur as a country. Elsewhere, Madam Speaker, we are ready. We want that road, the Mitiana Mvende Road, we wanted it yesterday. But at what cost are we doing this? And that's where my issue is.
Thank you.
Right Honourable Speaker.
Honorable Government.
Right Honourable Speaker, to give one fundamental information to this Parliament. Why are we coming now with this borrowing? There are basically two reasons why we are coming now when we are hardly 1 month to the end of the financial year. One is that we have had prolonged and protracted negotiations with the banks we are borrowing from in order for us to reach the terms and conditions read by the Minister. Two is that, Right Honourable Speaker, we approved supplementary schedule number 3 on 12th of March 2025 by this House. And part of this funding will also go into funding supplementary schedule number 3 that was approved by this House. I beg to give this information because all these are subject to the approval of Parliament. Thank you.
Thank you. I thought you were standing. Yes, Shadow. Let me have the Shadow Minister.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. I have about 2 or 3 issues of concern. One is the Minister needs to clarify when this loan request was supposed to be brought. When were you supposed to bring it? Because in my view, and when you look at the law, the PFMA, you're bringing it at the wrong time. It was actually supposed to be brought before us passing the next annual budget, before consolidating all the supplementary budgets that we did, and before us passing. The deadline was the 20th of May, which passed for us to consolidate.
That is the response that the government chief whip gave because of the protracted negotiation that they've gone through, which has taken all this long.
Yes, so us passing it right now, we're actually breaking the law as Parliament, passing it after consolidating the budget, the PFMA and the Constitution. You cross-check. Honourable Minister, maybe you do not have the PFMA with you, but we were supposed to pass it before the 20th of May, before us looking at and the Committee of Supply approving the next annual budget. The other issue of concern is about supplementary schedule number 3 that the government chief whip is justifying that it's going to cover. When I look at supplementary schedule number 3, there is actually only 61 billion shillings that is supposed to go to the Ministry of Works. And every time a supplementary schedule comes, it comes with its source of funding. Where is that money supposed to come from? So you coming at this time after us approving and passing, because when we passed the supplementary schedule number 3, we included the source where this money is going to come. Thirdly, it concerns the terms that we are getting this loan on. This is not a concessional loan, and majority of this money, over 90%, is going into consumption. Members are being convinced that it's going to do infrastructure, but when you look 61 billion out of the over 1 trillion shillings, it cannot justify. Most of the money is going into consumption. So us borrowing at about 7.3% to consume is totally wrong, and I think the Honourable Minister knows this quite well.
classify later on. Is one, we are having, as I said, pending invoices. Pending invoices. We raised this, the invoices were raised in the hope that we'd be able to have to get this money. Unfortunately, the lenders, they dragged their feet. They dragged their feet. If we had closed with them 2 months or 3 months behind, there would be no, I would not be standing here. Now, if we do not pass these loans, we are going to default. No, listen. Let me clarify. Let me again go to Mubende Road. Because there are so many roads. If my colleague, the minister in charge of roads, would be here, he would tell you. Me, I'm telling you Mubende because Mubende leads me to my home. Yes. Now, money ran out of that project. Specifics we can give, but I will tell you that the trend itself. So, when the money got finished, the contractor laid down his weapons. Oh yeah. You can go and ask him. The contractor had started, oh my goodness.
Honorable members, please listen to the minister.
Have you gone on that road?
Listen to the minister.
Doesn't it move from Mitiana now, which is almost to Kiganda?
No, let's have respect for each other. No, yes. No.
Because when you tell him to tell me that Kasaija is a liar, I get agitated. Tell me how I have right. Madam Speaker, let him tell me how I have right.
Madam Speaker and honourable members, there is no way you can get a contractor before getting the money. So when you say that the road is not going on because you don't have the money, it's not proper. You a liar. And I'm insisting on that. Because can you inform this House that you contracted a company to work on Mitiana Road without getting the loan? You first get the money, you pass the loan, then you go for the process of getting the contractor. So why are you a liar?
Honorable members, I want to refer you to Supplementary Schedule 2, which we passed in March, and in that resolution which was there, the money actually the minister is laboring to talk about was in the supplementary, which the 230, that was part of the money, 230 euros. That's what we approved, that money. And that now goes back to what Honorable Government Chief Whip was saying, that they've been negotiating with the lender. The document is here. I had to retrieve it from the archives.
Right, Honorable Speaker, the money for the road. This total borrowing, if you convert it in Ugandan shillings, is 2 trillion.
I'm not speaking about the money.
It's 2 trillion. Now, the Mitiana, which is being blackmailed on us, and you know there's a blackmail.
Honorable Chivombi, I'm not speaking about the money of the road. What I'm speaking about is the money that we approved in this House, where we said external borrowing, euros 230 million. External borrowing, we approved it. So what the minister is coming now here is to say, we have got the money. So the money, these are the terms. The document is here. Maybe you need to look at it.
Right Honorable Speaker, when we approve a supplementary, we approve a funding, the other side. It's credit and expenditure. So if we approved money without the minister ascertaining exactly where he's going to get the money, and at this moment he comes in and tells you, I'm going to EcoBank, and he tells you there is an arranger, and he's telling you that we are being blackmailed on Mitiana Road. July is just 30 days off. Even if we don't do a contractor, you can finance it from July 1st.
Honorable,
So
Honorable.
my point of view, Right Honorable Speaker, is that the issue where you are saying we approved the supplementary and approved a corresponding borrowing, external funding, and which is supposed to generate this money. Me, I'm asking the minister, first of all, the law does not permit you to put a contractor on the road without ascertaining funding. So what if we don't approve it? How could he have paid it? So he's operating outside the ambit of the law.
Honorable, when you look at the resolution of Parliament on supplementary expenditure schedule number 3 for the financial year 2024-25, the external borrowing that we approved is part of the money that the minister is talking about. That is the 230 million euros. And the resolution is here, signed. But then what you need, Honorable Minister, what the House is raising, one, how did you take the contractors on road when you didn't have the money? But at the end of the day, it is you and me and everybody, the conditions on the road, that push finance to have these contractors on the road. Then two, Honorable, just to help the House, Honorable Masava, can you tell us the section that does not allow the minister to bring a loan, a loan request at this time to the House? Let's resolve things one by one. Honorable Chivomi, let's resolve this one.
Let's resolve. Now, Right Honorable Speaker, the borrowing in the supplementary and permitted the minister to spend, to have money. Then what we are required right now to approve are terms and conditions
That's what the minister
of the
is
borrowing.
asking for.
That's why I asked the minister here, one, tell us the cost of this loan. Tell us the terms
Which he has
of
given.
this loan.
Which he
And
has
you
given.
approve. Now, the terms and conditions approved, presented here, without attaching a cost, and I'm asking him very deliberately, tell us of the 2 trillion we are borrowing, how much of that money is going to pay for arrangement of this loan?
That we expedite the motion moved by Honorable Baka on the question of suspension.
The motion of Honorable Baka was sorted out.
That one was
We
settled out.
suspend the terms,
Yeah.
terms of the loan. The issue of borrowing is not an issue. We are looking at the terms.
Now that, Madam Speaker, that we have debated, we have heard from the Minister of Finance, everybody. Let a question be put, Madam Speaker, on this matter, on this motion, so that we can vote on it. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Is it seconded by your query, seconded by our Silas, by Government Chief Whip, by Silas, by Sanon, by Nekesa, by Samuel, by Segumire, by Ogwang, by the minister. Honorable members, physically we have 62 members, we have virtually 112. Honorable members, I put a question that the rule I put a question that this House authorizes the government to borrow up to euros 270 million from Afrexim Bank and up to 230 million from EcoBank and the Development Bank of South Africa Limited to finance the government of Uganda budget for financial year 2024-2025. Those in favor sign the contrary nay. Guys have it.
Item 5 on the order paper. So item 4 on the order paper. Statement by Minister on the state of roads and rampant road accidents.
Honourable Minister of Works. Honourable Government Chief, we want the Minister of Works to handle the issue of the roads.
Item